Avenue Radio World for the schedule of programs and special programs of interest to honor, celebrate the successes and achievements of Asian Americans during this Asian American, Pacific, and Hawaiian Islander Heritage Month.
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music All Day Saturday. Music All Day Saturday.
This is Edwin Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Cabinets.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Start Time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pierce. This is Start Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour. K-Fox Night.
Looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the Fox.
Fresh Juice with D-Money in there.
Myself, D-Money.
Honey Size Patron.
Taylor Hart.
This is Cynthia. The Northwest Rap Gang.
Jay Medina. Chad Cheddar. Northwest Rap Gang.
Sergio Lacour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Going to the phone line. Tell them who we talking.
Sea Monster Radio. Mo Jams. It's your jam.
We're live. Welcome to Mojo Mondays. This is KZ of KZ Music Media. Caller Goddess for Mojo Mondays.
Just my opinion. God is inspiration. All day and all night. Saturdays. Rainier Avenue Radio.
You probably have questions about COVID vaccines. Here are some answers about how they're being made.
How are COVID vaccines being produced faster?
Usually, vaccine testing and production are separate steps. But because of the pandemic, vaccines are being developed on parallel tracks. So both steps are happening just at the same time.
How are the vaccines being tested?
Right now, several different COVID vaccines are in testing. Each go through multiple clinical trials with up to thousands of volunteers.
How do vaccines get approved?
Not all COVID vaccine versions will make it to the final stages of testing and approval. Produced vaccines that do not pass clinical trials will be destroyed. But for those that do pass, a team of medical experts will examine test results and possible side effects. If the vaccine is effective and safe, it gets approved and gets to you. Go to covidvaccinewa.org to learn more. A message from the state of Washington.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue radio.world.
All right. Tuesday, we are here. What's cooking in Columbia City? What's cooking? Brenda Charles Edwards, my distinguished co-host. Hello. Hello. We have, I'm hoping we can get connected. Daniel, we're waiting for Andy Reimer. Hi, everyone. Having trouble with this sound. Okay, Andy, we keep working on it. We got you covered. Well, you can come on if you want to, and you could do sign language if you want to. But anyways, we got a great show. We got one of the stalwarts of, like I said, the whole point of our show is to highlight businesses in Columbia City. And this company, family-owned, Flying Lion Brewing, has been in the area in Columbia City, right across the street from the studio. As a matter of fact, they're a little bit farther south of us in that complex next to Hummingbird.
Yes.
And next to the ice cream parlor there, Full Tilt. But I wanted to invite them because, they've been here through the pandemic, and working on his settings. Andy will leave and come back. Good work. He can reconnect. But anyways, I thought I would take the time. Well, I wanted to bring them on because, like I said, they are one of the stalwart businesses that has been here during the pandemic. And, I haven't acquired a taste for beer and ale, but this is actually brewed here, mere feet away from our studio. And I know they're purveyors of beer all over our neighborhood, because I know Andy has gone over to the Esquire Club and done, I guess they have beer on tap or something like that. So anyways, we are waiting for Andy to come on, and we'll see if we can get him. But nevertheless, Flying Lion is a family-owned business. And like I said, they've been there, they've been here, and there it is, Flying Lion Brewing. I got my picture back here too. And then, yeah, great folks. I know Andy and I know Sarah. So, and I got a chance to meet Matthew, who is the manager. There they are, the Motley Crew. Andy's the one with the beard and the glasses and the hat, standing in the back. Sarah's up front with a great smile. And I hope Andy can. Nothing's still working. Doggone it, Andy. I hope we can get you on. But nevertheless, we're right there. And for those of you who are listening and watching, Flying Lion Brewing is a home-based. By that I mean its home is in Columbia City, 5041 Rainier Avenue South. 5041 Rainier Avenue South. Their number is 206-659-9912. And they've got a whole range of different imbibing, a whole bunch of stuff. And it's, like I said, unique because it is a homegrown, family-owned establishment here in Columbia City. I don't know. There may be another brewery. I think there may be another brewery up the street, or a couple of them maybe at the most. But it's kind of neat. It's kind of unique, right in the hood. And like I said, I never drank a whole lot of beer. I don't know if you drink beer or ale and stuff like that, Brenda. You seem to me to be more like a connoisseur of wine. Oh, there they are. All these different kinds of things, isn't they?
Well, I'm looking forward to speaking with Andy because I want to know the difference between a brew and an ale.
Wow. That is a wonderful question to ask Andy.
Yeah, so let me do that.
Come on, Andy. What is a brew? What is a brew? What is a beer and ale?
What's the difference between an ale and a brew?
What's the difference between an ale and a brew? What's up, Andy?
Hey, glad to be here. I'm glad my sound's finally working. An ale and a brew. Well, a brew, an ale can be a brew. You might be talking about a lager and an ale. It's two different, very closely related to each other, different kinds of yeast, and you just treat them a little bit differently while the yeast are eating their meal and making those delicious beers.
Andy, all I know is that you can put tomato juice in a beer.
That's absolutely, and I do sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Hold it now. Let's not go too far afield. This is a family-rated show. And Andy and I've been knowing each other. I've always looked up to him. He's much older than me, and he and Sarah.
Absolutely, always have been, John.
Great, Andy. You've been around, but it's fascinating, that family-owned brewing company. And I was really happy to see you guys are back. You were out of the state. And we were. It's a neat thing. There's not a lot of places that are, have been around for almost 9 years at our scale and staying in the same place. And, like almost all of us are from the neighborhood. It's not a common thing in the beer industry at all, especially in Seattle, where it's a tough market. Well, there's a lot of competition. This was I read some places, we were on the map nationally as the place for microbrews and all that kind of stuff. Pyramid, all that stuff. And I'm saying, and I don't drink, but I occasionally taste. And who knows? You may see me come down there and, hey, give me a whatever they call it, the Stein. Give me a Stein of whatever.
I'll get you a Stein of water. I used to be your bartender, John. I remember I ever saw you walk in the door. I'd have to heat the hot water for tea.
Yeah, that's right. and like I said, Brenda is. I look at Brenda, and she's very more of a bon vivant. She will, she likes different things. Like I said, she wanted to know the difference between an ale and a beer, whatever. It's an lager and all that kind of good stuff. So we're gonna come down and get some tasting. And you guys produce. So Andy, now again, I'm going to turn it back over to Brenda. But when did you get involved with Flying Lion Brewing?
Really, I mean, I was walking home one night after probably being your bartender in the neighborhood, and saw some people in doing some late night work in the building that became Flying Lion Brewing. I stuck my head in. I'm like, "What are you doing in here?" And they said, "We're cutting concrete and repouring it because we're starting a brewery." I'm like, "Awesome! I'll see you on opening day." And a few months later, on opening day, Sarah, my wife now, and I, like, one of our very first dates was the opening day there. So, I've known them since the moment they opened almost 9 years ago.
Wow.
And got to become friends. Griffin offered me a job a couple months after they opened. I said no for about 5 years and moved to Alaska. And finally, 5 years later, he convinced Sarah and myself to work there. And it's a family place. We all know each other. We hang out. We're all, live around each other, go to each other's houses. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, then I'm going to ask this other question.
Well,
So
I was waiting. Were you letting me have this time now? Or?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking.
I'll
You
defer.
know how he is, Andy.
Yeah, I know.
So, Andy, how many different types of beers do you guys have?
Oh, at any given time? Well, we have 16 different taps available. There's an example of some of the variety we have. We have 16 different taps all times, and 14 of them are different beers that we make. And then we have 2 ciders. So if someone is not a beer drinker, we do have a couple of local hard ciders available.
What's a hard cider, Andy?
It's usually an apple juice, sometimes a pear juice, sometimes there's some other juices in there, and they ferment them with usually the wild yeast that come right on the apple, and they it's an alcoholic, carbonated apple juice, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure I got that question.
Yeah, no problem. So at any given time, we have 14 different beers and a couple of local ciders available.
Hard cider.
Yeah.
Hard cider. I got to try hard cider. There's a lot of things I haven't tried. Hard cider is one of them. I see these commercials. I say, you guys, who does the artwork for your cans, for your products? I mean,
that's a local fella. He lives just a couple blocks away. His name is Sean Morgan. You can find him whenever we come out with a new beer. We go to our Instagram. We usually link him in. You can see some of his other stuff. But he, about 4 years ago, he put in an application to be a bartender, and we didn't hire him for that. But he had a really interesting drawing on his resume. I'm like, when we talked to him, he's like, "Hey, do you want to design some labels for us?" And it's been great since then. We've had a few other people, but Sean does most of the work.
So, Andy, how do you brew a beer?
It's not a complicated process, really. It's just hard to do it consistently. You just take some grain, mostly barley. You can add some other things depending on what you're trying to get out of the beer. You soak some grain and then run that liquid. You just basically make a porridge, then run the liquid off. Boil it to make sure it's clean. You kill all the bugs in it because grain is dirty, comes out of a field.
So it's not organic, or is just?
It can be. Most of our stuff isn't particularly. It is almost all of our grain is grown in Skagit Valley, though. We got away from the big national companies and went with someone local that we could make a phone call and go to the field and see the grain and see how that's being done if we could. It can be, so we just steep and soak the grain, drain it off, boil it, add some hops, put it in a big sanitary tank with some yeast, and let the yeast eat the sugar and turn it into, a little bit of alcohol and some bubbles. And a few weeks later, you have a beer.
God,
you lift a lot of kegs and you clean a lot of things. That's how you make a beer.
That's some nightmare plumbing, man. When I went into the store and I looked at that, you were walking back there, I said, "Oh my God, look at all that plumbing, all that pipe, all the stainless steel." I said, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
And all of that works, right? I mean,
we use it regularly. Yeah. That's we've changed a few things since that picture there, but there's You have to be really careful because it's very easy to get, some bad bugs, some bacteria or yeast or whatever that you don't want in there. You have to be really, really careful that you're cleaning things right and making sure.
How many people does it take to brew a beer?
Depends how long you have and how long a day you want to work, we mashing in is when you add the water to the grain. This starts the beer. We did that 3 times today. We're going to do it again 3 times tomorrow. And myself and the owner, Griffin, who's been there almost every day for 9 years. The 2 of us were able to do 3 mashes in 11 and a half, 12 hours today.
Wow. And that's good?
Pretty good. Yeah. For something on our small scale, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Excuse me, Brenda, let me ask you this. So it's a family-owned operation. Griffin is the owner.
Right.
Does he have is he married, children? Does he have any?
Nope.
None. Okay.
No, he's not. He's for a lot of his life, he just spent too much time there, I think. Don't tell him I said that. I hope he's not.
So how did he work for a brewing company or a brewery, or is this self-taught? I mean, I hear stories about guys having an idea. Oh, yeah, let's create it,
Yeah. I mean, they have a pretty interesting history. His dad is a chemist, actually, and works in the food and beverage industry did back in Michigan. So they were making their own root beers and talking about that process from when he was a kid. And they were making root beer in the basement. Mm-hmm. And then when he started in college, he started home brewing in his dorm room.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
When he graduated, he worked at a homebrew shop. So he was able to get some interesting, small scale, like use it in your garage kind of equipment, and got a lot of practice and created some of the recipes that we still use today. His brothers have always been involved with that. Dad's always a phone call away if you have very technical chemistry questions.
That's great.
So and grew up with it.
Did he ever say or why he picked Columbia City in particular?
He had a couple of brothers that lived in Seattle, and they were looking, one for a neighborhood that had a space that was open, that was affordable for a brand new young person. Happened upon our little space. Was looking for a neighborhood that wasn't one of the big beer neighborhoods where all the big companies were already in there and were crowding everybody out. I was looking for, an actual neighborhood, which you don't find everywhere in Seattle, where you can walk down the street, know your neighbors, be a local spot.
That's beautiful. Let me give you a little bit of information that I think make me sound like I'm an expert. The reason why they use the term soda pop is because when they used to make home like root beer, they used to put corks in the bottle, and the carbonation would force the cork up, and it would go, pop, like that, right? That's why it was called pop.
Makes sense to me. I've heard a champagne cork go. It's about the right sound.
Thank you. But anyways, that's what I learned, and that's why I said, why is it called pop? Soda pop, But that's it. So it makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. But anyways, how long does it take to average brew a beer? Let's say, or an ale or whatever,
Sure.
What's the average time?
Well, depending on the style and how much grain you use and what kind of little, specific kind of yeast that you put in there. From the time that it's, a bag of dry grain till it's ready to be drunk, it's somewhere between, 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the beer. So we've got 4 tanks in the little, small for the beer industry size in the back of the building that are always full, just the yeast doing their job and getting ready for people to drink. It's 3 to 6 weeks on average.
How are you able to test that and know when it's ready?
There's a few things you can test. You can test the acidity. We have a little meter that lets you know what the acidity is. You can we have a thing called a hydrometer that it's a glass contraption that floats. So you take a little bit out of the tank and drop that in there, and depending on where how far that little glass doohickey sinks, it'll tell you how much alcohol is in there. And so if the yeast have stopped making alcohol, then the doohickey stops, stays in the same place basically. So if they're done and they're happy, and then you let them finish up and go to bed basically.
Fermentation.
It's wild, yeah.
Yes, it sounds like it.
I have a inspiration for you that you can introduce a new line called John and Brenda's Special. That would be great. I know you guys do seasonal.
This is when Brenda brings it up, John, not you.
Yeah. But beer is also done seasonally too, different things and different flavors, right? You guys are getting ready to do a big to-do on June 1st, I see.
Yeah,
with the event coming up, right?
With the Chuck's Hop Shop, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser for the Turtle Survival Alliance, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, seasonally, that traditionally, they've always brewed beer based on what was ripe in the field, right? So,
right.
They haven't always, they've been brewing beer for thousands of years, and generally, if something's ready to pick, you make a beer out of it. So, different grains at different times and different styles of beers, different times of the year. So, we still release our beers based on some of that, old tradition, especially a lot of the German beers. They only came out once a year, and once they were gone, they were gone. That's why Oktoberfest is an October thing, because that's when those fields are ready to be picked.
Oh, that's why. Okay, great. Yeah,
So,
you mentioned thousands of years. Yeah. Egyptians, right? Okay, go ahead. Is that?
Sorry,
Andy, what's the turtles?
It's the Turtle Survival Alliance. There's a man in the neighborhood that is working to preserve wetlands and turtle habitat here, specifically in Lake Washington. And he's partnered with Chuck's Hop Shop up in Seward Park before. And they came to us asking if we wanted to do a beer to help raise some money for the Turtle Survival Alliance to actually. So he's actually a certified turtle handler, and we're doing a little event, and I've heard there will be turtles on hand to join.
How big are these turtles, Andy?
I'm not sure. I haven't met him yet. I was hoping that he was going to bring some to the brew day, but that didn't happen.
I did not realize that was an issue here.
Yeah, I don't know. They're always messing with Lake Washington, so hopefully we can do something to help them keep some habitat alive.
Wow.
Turtles are turtles, but you do not want to catch one.
No.
I had a turtle when I was young.
Well, but no, those are different kind of turtles.
Oh.
These are turtles in the lake. You do not want to catch them. We caught one, hooked it.
You mean a big one?
Oh, it was big. And it came out of the water. We had no idea what it was because it was doing this thing with its flippers. We said, what in the world is it? And then we pulled it out of the water and we smelled it and we said, send it back. That thing out, because they live under the muck and they live down, they can hold their breath forever. And they basically are okay.
That was that one?
Let me tell you.
Oh man, I'm taking my beer back. Look at that thing.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you've got freshwater kind. That's the kind that you have at the pet store.
Okay.
The saltwater ones are tortoises. Now remember, there's turtles and tortoises.
Right. Yes, I'm familiar with the word tortoises. Yes.
Okay, good. Hey, Rainier Avenue at 5041 is where Flying Lion Brewing is. It's
That's
open. Right. You guys are open until midnight.
Every night.
Yeah.
7 days a week?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We open, depending on the day, we open at noon or 2, but we stay open till midnight every night. That's, we try to be consistent. Just let everybody close at the same time, no matter if it's, maybe we, Sunday night, we could probably close a little earlier, but just try to be consistent so people know that we're always there.
Right.
So, what is the biggest group you could bring? If I want to bring in a group, you guys have an arrangement to seat people and all that kind of stuff. Let's say if I have a group of about a couple of dozen or a dozen people, that kind of thing.
Generally at most times a dozen's probably okay. We've only got I think it's about 40 seats total.
Nice.
We don't do reservations just because, like I said, being consistent. We always want, we don't want to ever put a sign on the door saying you're not welcome because somebody else arranged it before you. We always want people to be able to walk up. I say a dozen is usually a pretty good number. If you're getting up into the 20s, it might be a little tough to fit y'all, especially if you want to be talking to each other.
Well, that's great, but it's a lot of fun. And you have that outdoor seating section. Too.
Yeah.
And you know what's fascinating? No tipping.
Yeah, that's a fairly new not experiment. It's permanent, but we did a lot of thinking about that and just decided, it just seems like a better way to do things, right? Like the bartenders come in and know that they're going to make the same amount of money, no matter, if it's raining and nobody's coming out or it's summertime and busy, they can count on the same income all the time. And, that's another reason we always include the tax in the price too. So the customers know exactly what they're going to actually be spending.
Very nice. I cheated and watched the show Seattle Now. There's a show that was on the TV. Come on, I think King Como or Channel 7, one of them.
Oh,
they covered you guys, but then
I did. I was on vacation. I didn't actually watch that. You send me the link, John.
I watched it and I said, well, they can't outdo us because we are live on the internet, 10 different countries and 10 different states. So we got them beat. Anyway, that's why I had to put that plug in there. But
there you
go. Open until midnight, and
that's right.
It's very comfortable seating. I've been in there, and it's very intimate. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's cozy. It's a tight space, and there's a lot of stainless steel around, but we try to make it comfortable with nice wood tables and nice place to sit and have a chat. It's good. That's we want it to be a community space.
And did you say your outdoors is covered too?
It is, yeah. We in the wintertime, we have heaters out there as well. We don't need them this time of year, thankfully. Get a little fresh breeze. We one of the nice things, or I guess you can say it's a nice thing about COVID, is we put a garage door in the front of the building too to be able to open it up in the summertime and have nice fresh air all the time. And that we had to do that because we started canning during the last few years, and our front door wasn't big enough to get cans in the front door, so we had to rebuild the whole front of the building.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My wife likes a good beer and an ale, and I'm going to bring her, and I'm going to bring Phyllis, my wife. I think you may have met Phyllis when you guys were at Rookie working there, but
I remember.
And I'll bring Brenda, and she can bring Paul.
Sure.
We'll just come down and make it a night, and I want to try your hard cider.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. And I would love that. It'd be great to sit down and talk to you.
Oh yeah, Andy. So you've been with them, like I said, you made the move to join the Flying Lion group, the family. Per se.
Yeah.
And that's great. And you and Sarah both. But
right.
The only thing I want to do, and then I'm going to be quiet and let Brenda close it out. Open 7 days a week up until midnight and noon to 2 sometimes in the opening.
Yeah.
You've got, like I said, this special event coming up. You got stuff going on into the fall too.
We're always doing something. We can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
What's your website?
Go to the website. Yeah.
FlyingLionBrewing.com will get you good information about the brewery. There's if you click on the beers tab, it'll show you exactly what we're serving right now, along with some descriptions and some other information there. And then links to our social media as well. We're posting pictures and new stuff on most of the social media platforms fairly regularly.
Well, I'm inspired. The new beer that you're going to going to present is going to be John's special brew. Forget Brenda.
Yeah.
Andy, it was great having you on the show. I look forward to meeting you with or without John. And I just want to say kudos to John Yasutake, Seattle Here and Now, Thursday nights at 6. I'm Brenda Charles Edwards, host of Seniors Matter every Friday at 12:30 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio World. Take care, everyone. We love you. Bye, Andy. See you soon.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you very much, Andy. Tell Sarah I said hi too, would you?
I will.
And thank Matthew. Hey, have a great one. We will be bye.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.